Meeting setting companies, strategies that deliver. Meeting setting has changed, and your outbound strategy needs to catch up. When pipeline gets thin, the temptation is to just book more meetings. That's exactly why meeting setting companies exist. But the best ones in 2025 are no longer appointment factories. They operate like modern outbound engines that create qualified conversations, protect show rates, and produce measurable pipeline. The gap between calendar-filled and revenue-producing meeting setting is bigger than most teams expect. Many vendors can schedule calls. Far fewer can consistently generate meetings your AEs accept, your buyers actually attend, and your CRM can attribute to opportunities. If you're evaluating a cold calling agency or an outbound sales agency, we want you looking past surface metrics and into unit economics and downstream conversion. In this guide, we'll break down what high-performing meeting-setting companies do differently, which metrics matter most, and how to implement the strategies that reliably deliver pipeline. We'll also address the common mistakes that quietly destroy ROI, like chasing the lowest cost per meeting or treating show rate management as an afterthought. The goal is simple: an outbound motion you can scale with confidence. What meeting-setting companies actually do and what they should be accountable for. A strong provider functions as an SDR agency that owns the front end of your sales process: list building, outreach execution, first-line qualification, scheduling, and data hygiene. In practice, that means they run coordinated cold calling services, email, and often LinkedIn outreach services into your ICP, then book qualified conversations directly onto AE calendars. The best teams also manage confirmations and reschedules so you don't win the meeting and lose the attendance. The math is why this category exists. Cold calls typically convert to a booked meeting only 2 to 5% of the time, which means results come from disciplined targeting, strong objection handling, and persistent follow-up, not a single clever script. If your partner can't explain their approach to list quality and how they reach prospects after multiple attempts, you're likely buying activity, not outcomes. Most importantly, meeting-setting companies should be accountable for revenue-adjacent metrics, not vanity counts. If compensation or SLAs are tied only to meetings booked, you'll get meetings, just not necessarily the ones that convert. We recommend aligning the program around lead acceptance, show rate, meeting-to-opportunity conversion, and cost per opportunity, so the engine stays pointed at pipeline. In-house versus outsourced, the economics behind the decision. Teams usually explore sales outsourcing when they need pipeline fast, lack SDR management bandwidth, or want to de-risk the learning curve in a new segment. Fully loaded SDR cost commonly lands around $90,000 to $110,000 per rep per year, and you still have to staff management, training, tooling, and data. On top of that, average ramp time is about 3.2 months, while average SDR tenure sits near 1.4 years, which compresses the window where you're actually getting peak productivity. This is why many revenue leaders choose a hybrid model: a small internal SDR core plus an outsourced sales team for speed, coverage, or new segment experimentation. The key is not deciding outsourced versus in-house in the abstract, but selecting the model that hits your timeline, CAC constraints, and operational reality. A great B2B sales agency can help you skip the slow build, but only if the program is designed around quality and conversion. How to evaluate a provider: score the revenue engine, not the calendar. The most common buying mistake is choosing a partner purely on the lowest cost per meeting. Ultra-cheap meetings often come with hidden costs: low AE acceptance, poor show rates, and minimal opportunity creation, meaning you burn AE time and inflate real CAC. Instead, evaluate total economics: cost per accepted meeting, cost per opportunity, and cost per dollar of pipeline created. We also see teams hand off a vague ICP and expect magic. Tight targeting beats clever scripts almost every time, because a good enough message to the right accounts outperforms a brilliant pitch to the wrong ones. Before you sign with any sales development agency, insist on a joint ICP workshop that defines must-haves, disqualifiers, personas, buying triggers, and the qualification checklist your team will use consistently. Finally, ask to see how performance is tracked and reported in your CRM. If your provider can't connect activities to accepted meetings, opportunities, and pipeline, you won't be able to iterate effectively. A strong SDR agency will proactively propose a shared scorecard and agree to targets that protect quality, especially show rate. If you pay for meetings, you'll get meetings. If you pay for pipeline, you'll get revenue. Build a multi-channel cadence that earns replies and scales. Single-channel outreach is a losing bet in a crowded market. Modern meeting-setting companies win by orchestrating email, phone, and LinkedIn across a disciplined 3 to 4 week cadence, then tuning the channel mix by persona and segment. When multi-channel outreach is layered on top of email, benchmark analyses show engagement can increase by up to 287% and conversions by up to 300%, which is why most email-only programs plateau quickly. This is where many teams misjudge what they're buying from a cold email agency or cold calling companies. The value isn't just sending messages, it's running controlled experiments, testing hooks, sequencing, timing, and personalization depth while keeping deliverability and call quality high. A good provider will show you what they're testing this month and what they're retiring because it underperforms. Action-wise, we recommend starting with one focused segment rather than boiling the ocean. Pilot a clear ICP slice, industry plus size plus persona for 60 to 90 days. Monitor acceptance and opportunity creation, then expand only after unit economics prove out. That approach protects your brand, your AE's time, and your outbound budget. Show rate optimization, the hidden lever that multiplies pipeline. Most teams track meetings booked and stop there, then wonder why pipeline feels light. The reality is that many organizations see demo no-show rates in the 20 to 40% range, which means a major portion of your wins never happen. Top-performing appointment-setting programs maintain 80+% show rates, and pushing from 65 to 80% can feel like hiring extra SDR capacity without changing meeting volume. Treat show rate as a core performance metric with an explicit workflow. Calendar invites sent immediately, confirmation messaging that reinforces value, not logistics, and reminders at the right intervals. For higher value meetings, add a last-mile touch, like a quick call or text 1 to 2 hours before to reduce drop-off. If your provider doesn't own this process end-to-end, you'll keep leaking meetings after you've paid to book them. This is also where pay-per-appointment lead generation models can go wrong if the contract rewards quantity without accountability. We recommend tying SLA reviews to show rate, accepted meeting rate, and meeting to opportunity conversion so incentives stay aligned. When everyone is measured on attendance and quality, your outbound engine starts producing durable pipeline instead of calendar noise. Operational discipline, activity benchmarks, AE feedback, and CRM visibility. Even the best strategy fails without consistent execution. Effective appointment setting programs average around 94.4 daily activities per SDR across calls, emails, voicemails, and social touches, which helps you sanity check whether you're getting real coverage. Volume isn't the goal, but it is the floor, especially in B2B cold calling services where connect rates and conversion rates are naturally constrained. The most expensive mistake we see is running outbound with no closed-loop feedback between AEs and the meeting-setting team. If AEs don't rate meetings for fit and readiness, the same weak targeting and soft qualification repeats indefinitely. A simple process, AE scoring in the CRM, plus a bi-weekly review of acceptance and conversion, tightens qualification faster than any script rewrite. Brand risk is real in telemarketing and telesales, so governance matters. You should approve messaging, monitor call recordings, and require transparency into sequences and performance dashboards. When you treat your provider like a revenue pod instead of a vendor, you get faster iteration and less friction across the handoff to your closers. What great looks like next: AI, hybrid teams, and scaling with control. AI is changing outbound in practical ways: better account prioritization, faster personalization, and more systematic testing. Teams leaning into AI-driven optimization are reporting productivity gains of roughly 25 to 30%, which compounds when you combine it with strong data and tight ICP enforcement. The winners will be the teams that use automation to improve relevance, not to increase spam. At SalesHive, we've built our model around this modern meeting-setting company standard: orchestration across channels, disciplined experimentation, and reporting that ties effort to pipeline. Across more than 117,000 meetings booked for 1,500 plus B2B clients, we've seen the same pattern repeat. The fastest growth comes when targeting is tight, show rate is owned, and everyone is measured on revenue outcomes, not meeting volume. Your next step is straightforward. Pick one segment, define qualification in writing, set a shared KPI dashboard, and review conversion weekly until the engine stabilizes. Once unit economics are proven, scale to adjacent segments with the same controls and feedback loops. Done right, an outsourced sales team isn't a shortcut. It's a repeatable system for building pipeline on demand.